Dear students, I was talking about the permanent plant tissues, and in that permanent plant tissue we have already discussed the simple permanent tissue, and in that simple permanent next classification parenchyma tissues, right? This parenchyma tissue we already have discussed. Clear? Regarding its structure, regarding its function, regarding its shape, all this. We were talking of this Sclerenchyma, and we have completed this also in the previous video. I have told you that this Sclerenchyma, how are they different from this parenchyma? The difference is as regards these corners, they become thickened, right? That is one important aspect of, or you can differentiate on this. And these cells, they elongate, they their length increases, right? They become long, right? This is important. Another very important aspect about this Sclerenchyma is that in between the cells, as I have shown you here, this is cell number 1, this is cell number 2, this is cell number 3. In case of parenchyma, this red shaded portion is the gap or space in between these three cells. But here you see cell number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 4 and 5. They are adjoining cells. But here in between them there is no space or no gap. So the another important thing about Sclerenchyma is that they don't have intercellular space. And very important thing that you must know that this Sclerenchyma kind of permanent tissues, they are absent in monocot plants, right? Monocot plants, they are generally tender kind of plants, right? They are not very strong plants. So this mechanical support, the main function, the tensile strength, that requirement is less there, and hence they are absent there. So this tensile strength to the leaves and stem of dicot plants, this is there, and I have already told you about the tensile strength. Clear? Now we will come to this Sclerenchyma, that is the third kind of simple permanent tissue. And here what happens, these cells, when they finish their lifespan, complete their life, they become dead. Once they become dead, that means they don't have any cytoplasm in them inside the cell. That become, as you have read about the story or beginning of cells, what Robert Hooke observed in the cock cell, only the cells he observed, means small holes, small cables, means inside the cell. If this is the cell, if this is the cell, this is the cell, inside this cell nothing was found except this cell wall, right? Except this cell. This is the third stage of these cells that make this Sclerenchyma, or final stage. These are dead cells. All the cells that make scleren. This word is scleren has come from the word scleros. Scleros meaning of this word is stone. So all these stone-like hard parts of the plants, generally the shells of the nuts, coconut, groundnut, right? So all these nuts, their shell, the outer covering, the protective covering, that is made up of Sclerenchyma. Clear? So what features we see? The cells are dead, means inside the cell no nucleus, no cytoplasm, no organelles, and no vital functions. Second thing is these walls they become very thick. These walls they become very thick cell wall. This wall become very thick. That is another important feature of this type of cells. They have extremely thick cell wall, right? And inside this no cytoplasm. Whole vacuole means this whole become a vacant place. Nothing is there, right? All of the cell turns into a vacuole. And here also what happens, as you see from this, the cells they develop into this, and these cells ultimately die as this. So what happens, you have seen this Sclerenchyma, these corners of the cells, these regions of the cells in the tissue, this region of the cells becomes very thick, very thick. What is the reason of this thickening? Deposition of lignin. This is the third and final stage of Sclerenchyma, right? And in between, suppose this is one cell, another cell will be like this. You see? So this is cell number 1, this is cell number 2. What will be the another cell of this kind? What will be the another cell of this kind? The another cell you see this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see all these cells, they are very thick walled. These walls are very thick, right? These walls are very thick, right? These are very thick walled. This wall is very thick. Can you see? These are very thick walled cells. So what is the difference you notice? You can just think that this is a small child, this is an adult person between the age of like human beings, and this is the dead body, right? So what difference here you see? From this stage they develop attain this stage, and where we have this group of cells we call Sclerenchyma. When these cells attain this stage we call it Sclerenchyma. I have already told scleros meaning stone. They are generally very hard, like a stone. Coconut, you see, it's very hard to crack the coconut. That shell, outer shell is very tough. In groundnut, in all kinds of dry fruits and nuts, the protective covering the outer cell is very tough and strong. Right? So cells are dead, means inside the cell, nothing vital, no cytoplasm, no cell organelles, nothing. It's extremely thick wall, these walls become very thick. No cytoplasm, all vacuole. And another important thing, this 1, 2, 3, 4 adjoining cells. In between them, there is no space. You see, these walls are joining. But here you see, in between these walls, this space was there, vacant place in parenchyma, right? But here there is no intercellular space. That is important aspect. Now, where will you find them? They are found in the veins of the leaves. Do you remember the veins? I have a leaf in my hand. You can see. Where is the vein? This one is the midrib. This long one. Where is the vein? This is the vein. This one. I am shading in red. On the veins, I am marking with my red pen. You can see this red marked lines or structures are veins. So these veins, they are made up of Sclerenchyma, right? And what happens because of this leaf spreads wide. This lamina can exist wide to absorb, to increase the surface area of the cells to absorb more sunlight, or for the transpiration, that is removal of excess water from these two metal cells. All this is because of this. Otherwise this leaf would have been like this, bent. But what keeps it straight? You may have seen umbrella. On the umbrella you have the wires that stretch it. Similarly, these veins, they stretch the leaf wide and exhibit this shape or this status of the leaf. So this found in the veins of the leaves and in the stem also. And what is its function? Mechanical strength. Simply the strength. You can understand that this leaf I am holding in my hand, this is called leaf base, and this leaf base only attaches. But you see, because of these veins, because of that, this wide leaf can exist there, right? You can see this wide, otherwise this would have bent like this. So what keeps it stretched wide? This rib like veins, and these veins are made up of dead cells and through which there is conduction. So mechanical strength, and another is protection. Protection means protection so that the seeds may remain dormant. So this is all about the simple permanent tissues, and the next video will be talking about the complex permanent tissues, right? That is xylem and phloem. So here you have the question for homework. First question you have to do is as homework. What is a parenchyma tissue? So what will be your answer? A parenchyma tissue is the simple permanent tissue present in the plant body where the cells that make parenchyma tissue, they are isodiametric, means their size is more or less the same. Their shape is spherical or polygonal, or the cell wall is very thin, or sometimes there is no cell wall. Sometimes what you see, notice here at this place, sometimes they don't have leg, sometimes not leg, you can say thin only, that will do. That will do. Only thin cell walls with intercellular spaces, the space between the cells, right? And they are most abundant, means their amount is maximum. Most of the plant body is made up of parenchyma. This is about the second question. So first question was what are parenchyma? Parenchyma tissues. Second question is tabulate the differences between the parenchyma, Parenchyma and Sclerenchyma. Right? So what you have to do is you have to make a table as I have made this, and you have to write the differences between parenchyma, colon. So in the second question is tabulate the differences between the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So you have to write the differences as I have written here on the board. Right? The third question is draw figures. Draw figures of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, right? So figures I have told you. What you have to do? Same figure. You have to show these things prominently. This intercellular space you will show, thin cell wall you will show, full of cytoplasm you will show. Cytoplasm becomes slightly viscous, and here in case of collenchyma you have to show this thickened corner due to the deposition of lignin, no intercellular space. This important. And here in case of sclerenchyma, important aspect that you have to mention is the cell wall become very thick and no intercellular space inside the cell, no vital aspects, or they are dead cells, right? The fourth question is name the parts in the plant body where or which are made up of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Each case, so parenchyma you will write what, where you will find food storage, means in the fruits and mesophyll, these parts, cortex, pith, pulp of fruit, mesophyll, right? Collenchyma, the leaf base, then leaf veins, and then stem and the peels. Here the hard cells, then bark, outer bark you have seen on the plant, very huge plants, they have dry barks on them. They are, this is sclerenchyma, they are made up of this, right? This is about the parts. Then fifth question is write the functions. Write two functions each of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, right? You have to write two functions each of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Clear? So this is the fifth question. So On this topic or in this video, you have to write these 5 questions in your copy, biology copy. What are parenchyma tissues? So your answer is parenchyma tissues are just the first kind of simple permanent tissues which are made up of isodiametric cells which are spherical, oval or polygonal in shape. They are thin-walled with intercellular spaces and they are most abundant at this. This much is the answer for first. Then second question is tabulate the differences between parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. In this way, as I have written on the board, you write shape and structure, isodiametric. So here what shape? They are elongated. Here thin walled, here thick walled. Here no intercellular, here intercellular space. Here in this case no intercellular space. Here also no intercellular. So these differences you will write. Then third question is draw figures of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Figures you can take the help of the book also and you can draw the way I have drawn on the board in this simple way. Right, in between these cells you have to show intercellular space thin walled, right, full of cytoplasm. Here what you have to do, corner thickened corners with no intercellular space, slightly thick cell wall, right. Here you see cell walls are very thick, extremely thickened and there is no intercellular space. Clear? So this is all about the figure. Then name the parts in the plant body which are made up of parenchyma, collenchyma. Parenchyma you will see where you will find. So you will find in cortex, pith, pulp of fruit, mesophyll of leaf. Where will you find this collenchyma? Collenchyma in the leaf veins, right, and in the stems. Then sclerenchyma as the coconut shell or outer covering bark of the trees. All this. Then write 2 functions each of parenchyma. 2 functions of parenchyma. What are 2 functions? Its 2 functions are storage of food and provides temporary support. What are 2 functions of collenchyma? This provides tensile strength to the leaves that is present in the veins of the leaf and it also provides tensile strength to the dicot plant. Important thing that you have to notice, this collenchyma is absent in monocot. Sometimes this question related to this is also asked in the examination. Name the simple permanent tissue which is absent in monocot plants. Your answer will be collenchyma, right? Then the third function, the mechanical strength and protection. Then write this way all these 5 questions along with their answer you must write in your notebook. In case you face it out, don't hesitate to call me. Okay, keep healthy and have good time. Thank you.